A new episode of EWTN's They Might Be Saints is doing a deep dive into a mystic and visionary from Canton, Ohio, the same town, yes, as Mother Angelica. Rhoda Wise, a convert to Catholicism, is known for her devotion to St. Therese, the Little Flower. She is also known for her healings, one of which involved the foundress of EWTN. And joining us now to discuss is Michael O'Neill, host of EWTN's They Might Be Saints. Michael, welcome back. Great to see you. Let's talk more about Rhoda Wise. I did a little research on her just before our broadcast here. What an amazing life, but you know more about it than I do.
Yeah, and she has an incredible connection to EWTN. Perhaps if there's no Rhoda Wise, there's no EWTN, but she's an incredible mystic, stigmatic, visionary, and healer from Canton, Ohio. Lived from 1888 to 1948. And now, as all the episodes that I do of They Might Be Saints, she's another person from America on the path to sainthood.
So the connection with, let me rephrase it. She knew Mother Angelica, but what was their connection? What happened between them?
So Rhoda Wise was a woman who, she started off as a Protestant, and then she converted to Catholicism. And in her home, which is now known as the Miracle House of Rhoda Wise, people can still visit it in Canton. People would often come to see her and seek out healings because she had these mystical gifts, you might say. And Rita Rizzo, the future Mother Angelica, at the age of 19, she went to visit Rhoda Wise as she had this condition called a drop stomach. It was extremely painful for her, and she wasn't all that religious or all that faithful. But after that experience, she was introduced to St. Therese and the novena to St. Therese. After 9 days of prayer, her drop stomach was healed, and she was perfectly healthy. And as a result of that spiritual experience, she went on to befriend Rhoda Wise and go on to enter a convent and later become Mother Angelica and later found EWTN. So Rhoda Wise has a very strong connection here with EWTN.
Right. And these stories always, they send tingles up your spine, right? When Rhoda talked about, she said she saw Jesus, right? A couple of times at least?
Yeah, Rhoda's life is filled with incredible mystical phenomena. Not only was she healed of a stomach wound and a broken foot, and she had visions of Jesus, but she also, and visions of St. Therese, but she also had the stigmata, the wounds of Christ, which on Fridays for several years, it started on a Friday, and then every day from 12 to 3, she bore the wounds of Christ in her hands, in her feet, in her forehead, in her eyes even, and thousands of people would line up to see her. So it's an incredible phenomenon that surrounded this Rhoda Wise.
What did you learn yourself by working on this episode? You know, they say when you work, you learn, right? So what did you learn?
Well, it's at that exact point of many people throughout Christian history, many saints and mystics, they have private phenomena, they have private situations that happen. But Rhoda's suffering, Rhoda's experience with the stigmata, with the healings, they were experienced by many people. So people would come in the hundreds or thousands on any given day by busload. And there are some amazing photos in this episode of They Might Be Saints, which documents so many people coming to see Rhoda Wise. So this wasn't just a private phenomenon that nobody knew about. She's a very famous person in the history of Canton, Ohio. And many people, even today, still go to her home, the Shrine of Rhoda Wise.
And here we live in a time of, let's face it right now, there's a lot of anger, uncertainty, division in our country, especially here in the United States. How might you think if people just picked up a book or went on the internet and did a search of Rhoda Wise, and if they just read a description about, I tell you, it made me feel better after I read it. Do you think she could help? How is she relevant today, I guess is my question.
So I think everybody across the board, Catholics and otherwise, are inspired by miracles. And the person of Rhoda Wise was surrounded by miracles and mystical phenomena. So her story is fascinating. And the fact that people would come to her and they'd be healed. And Rhoda Wise experienced her own healings as well. But I think what's particularly noteworthy about Rhoda Wise is how much she suffered. And she united her suffering to Jesus on the cross in a redemptive way. So I think that we all suffer in our own various ways, but seeing this future saint perhaps suffering in such a way and offering up her suffering is inspirational.
Let's change gears a little bit here. As we mentioned earlier in our show, today is the feast of St. Maria Goretti. A lot of people don't know about her. She's got an amazing story, born in Italy, I believe, and murdered at a young age. And she's the patron saint of teenage girls. Go on from there, please.
So what's fascinating about Maria Goretti, she's one of the youngest saints we have in the history of the Catholic Church. Perhaps St. Dominic Savio and the youngest Fatima children are younger saints, but she's by far on that low end of the spectrum. And so people over the years have turned to her as a patron saint of purity because she was actually attacked by her family had to share a house with some other farm workers, and she was attacked at a very young age, and she defended herself, but she was stabbed in the process. And so people will point to her as this patron saint of purity or fighting for purity. But I think what the real takeaway is, because Maria Goretti, she actually was being attacked, so she was in no position to give in or not give in. So I think that the real focus on Maria Goretti is her forgiveness. Mm-hmm. So she actually warned her attacker out of concern for his own soul that such an act would lead to hell, for example. And then she also, on her deathbed, she was stabbed 14 times. She actually forgave her attacker. And she died, of course, and she dies a martyr. But then that boy, that young man who was attacking her, he went on to become a religious brother, seeing the example of forgiveness that she gave. So I think forgiveness is the big takeaway from this incredible saint, Maria Goretti.
Absolutely. I think you nailed it right there. Michael, that's about, I think I want to ask you, when can people watch the new episode, They May Be Saints?
So the new episode of They Might Be Saints, you can watch it each week. The program They Might Be Saints airs on Fridays at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. But tonight, I will be on EWTN Live with Father Mitch Pacwa. And as part of EWTN Live, they're going to show this program, and they're going to embed the program in there so you can watch it. So that will be 8 p.m. Eastern Time, and then they'll do an encore tomorrow morning for those people who miss it. That'll be 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time. So tonight at 8 or tomorrow at 10:30 are two opportunities to watch this program.
Yeah, make sure to watch. Michael, thank you very much. Great to see you today.
Thank you.